Now, 3 years have passed since the attacks here in Paris on the satirical newspaper Charlie Hebdo. Those were attacks which sparked international outcry and brought about the Je suis Charlie slogan. But after initial swell of public support, sales of the paper have now dwindled. France 24's Emerald Maxwell tells us more.
Its headline reads, 3 years in a tin can. 3 years since the attack on its offices, which left 12 people dead. Charlie Hebdo's staff has since lived and worked under constant guard, a burden on both the state and the paper itself, which has to channel the profits from half of its copies sold towards security.
It's terrifying to think that 3 years ago the terrorists killed the journalists, but today the scale of the threat continues to weigh on the journalists' lives, including on the economic survival of the newspaper.
3 years ago, Je suis Charlie became the rallying cry that brought millions out into the street in support of free speech and saw long lines of people queuing to buy the Charlie Hebdo Survivors edition. But sales have since dwindled to the levels they were at before the attack.
In the aftermath, people bought it maybe less for the content of the paper than because they wanted to make a point, to say, you can't do that. It was an act of rebellion, you might say.
On the eve of the third anniversary of the attack, the head of an international anti-racist organisation said he felt the unanimity of Je suis Charlie had dissipated, but says the fight for its values is not over.
It's a day of commemoration and testimony to what Charlie is all about, its freedom of expression and criticism that we need to protect in our country.
On Sunday, President Emmanuel Macron will remember those who died by visiting the Charlie Hebdo offices with family members of the victims.